Hello everyone and welcome back to a Royal Reader. My name is Cici and today we're going to be doing my March D20 TBR. So in case you are new to my channel, I have a TBR game called D20 Roll. What is it called? Roll20 TBR, where I have a 20-sided dice and each of the numbers correlates with a prompt. I roll a dice and I pick the book that goes along with that prompt. For March, I'm going to be still doing the 3 rolls because I am going to be deep into university work with having to do a lot of readings and essay writings and things like that. So let's get into the books that I have already started reading. So these are going to be brought over from February. So I do have 2 books that I am currently reading, so let's get into those. So the first one that I decided to pick up was mainly because I had read a lot of just like smutty fantasy romance, which, you know, I love. That's, you know, one of my favorite genres. It is what I read the most of, but there comes a time when there is just a little bit too much smut and not enough plot. So I picked up one of the biggest plot heavy books that I could possibly think of. Don't ask me why I did, but it was just calling to me. Fire of the Orange Tree. It is a big chunky boy. It is a very epic high fantasy. It's not as long as you think. I did watch someone's TikTok where they gave you books that were bigger than this. I think it is just because of how small it is that makes it look like it's bigger, you know, more dense than it actually is. So this is only about 800 pages or so, which is still like a big book, don't get me wrong, but you know, House of Sky and Breath is about 900 pages long. So is Kingdom of Ash, and I've read both of those. I think this should be fine. I am about 136 pages into the story so far. Really tell you much of what's happening, but basically our story follows a cast of different characters. The world is separated into the West and the East. In the West, the people are terrified of dragons, they fear them. There was this very, very big bad dragon called the Nameless One, who was basically a blight across the kingdom, destroyed everything. It was a very, very bad, scary time. So they hate dragons. And then we have the people in the East who sort of worship the dragons and believe that they are gods and things like that. The story follows one of the main characters, who is Queen Sabran, who is the Queen of Inish, which is a kingdom in the West, and she is having to deal with the fact that everyone is sort of forcing her to get married and have a child because she is currently the only lasting heir of this line of people. And there is a prophecy or a rumor where if the Nameless One won't return as long as there is a person of this line sitting on the throne. So everyone is very, very anxious for her to start popping out kids so that she's not the only one left. Then we've got another character who is in the East, who is training to be a sea guardian and being able to ride the dragons there and to, I guess, just be a soldier. Not entirely too sure yet. Still very, very, very early on in what exactly is happening in the story, but I am enjoying it nonetheless. I am tabbing it, not doing too like in-depth tabbing. It is really just like plot points, lore and history, and then feminist things, because I do know that this is quite feminist. So yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. Can't really tell you much. The next book that I have already started is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is a YA fantasy with Arthurian legends mixed into it. We follow our main character Bree, who unfortunately at the beginning of this story tragically loses her mother in a car accident. She has been enrolled in sort of a pre-college scholarship program thing, and while she is there she sees demon attacks and magic everywhere and is sort of opened to this new world that she didn't know existed, and sort of puts herself in there when she realizes that these people may have had something to do with her mother's death. Not very far into it. I'm about 108 pages in. I'm enjoying it. It's So far, just very meh. Me and my partner have been watching the BBC series The Adventures of Merlin, which is what inspired me to pick this book up, because it is involving Arthurian legends and Merlins and things like that. Now let's get on to the actual rolls of the month.
Roll number 1.
So the first roll we got 11, which is a book by a POC author. So this is a person of color. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be a black author or they have to be an Asian author. This just means that they have to be a person who is not of white heritage. I decided to go with a book that I have been seeing on a couple of people's TBRs, actually, from some of the books, some of the videos that I've watched recently. So I decided to pick up This Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. I have read the Shadow Me series by Tahara Mafi. Didn't really like it. Unfortunately, it was one of the book series that I just did not like, but that is because it is a dystopian. I don't like dystopian stories whatsoever. I hated Divergent, I hated Hunger Games, didn't like Shadow Me. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a different story. Plus, that was written back in 2014, and this is written last year. I have a feeling that I'm going to like this a lot more. I enjoyed the writing style of Tahara Mafi, so this one just sounds really interesting. So we've got a lost heir to an ancient Jinn kingdom who is currently pretending to be a servant, and then we've got another character who is the crown prince, and he's starting to grow suspicious of the other main character who is acting as the servant. So there's also prophecies, stuff like that. It says, This Woven Kingdom is a story of clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long-forgotten queen who must claw her way through darkness to reclaim her throne, rebuild her kingdom, and save her people from the half-lives they've been forced to live. So this just sounds absolutely incredible. And yeah, I'm excited to read this one.
Roll number 2. Five.
Next roll was a 5, which is YA fantasy. So this could work for This Woven Kingdom as well, because it is a YA fantasy. But I decided to pick up We Hunt the Flame by Hafeza Faisal. I think I've pronounced that correct. So this one could also work for the POC author as well. So I wanted to put both of them on there just to sort of swap and change them. This one I have heard a lot of people rave about. Everybody seems to really enjoy this book, especially the writing is something that everyone sort of talks about. So this one, we've got 2 main characters. We've got Saphira, who is the hunter forced to disguise herself as a man. She risks everything to provide for her people. Then a second main character is Nazira, who is the Prince of Death. He is a feared assassin who is forever bound to the command of his father, who is the Sultan. Both are legends in their kingdom, but neither wants to be, and when Zafira embarks on a dangerous quest to return magic to the suffering land, Nasira is sent on a similar mission, but as the journey unfolds, an ancient evil begins to stir. So that sounds amazing. I am really excited to read this one. Why is the text so small? My god! So yes, that is one that I have on the list for YA fantasy. Although I think somebody has said that it's probably more along the lines of adult, or at least new adult, but...
Roll number 3. Oh no. So that's a 1.
And unfortunately, I rolled a 1. So 1 means that I have to add a book onto the list. So usually I will only do 3 reads. So now I have to add a book, which means I have to do 4. So, yay.
Roll number 4. We have a 4.
So my next read, I did a number 4, which is a Kindle Read. So I am just going to continue reading on with Mother of Death and Dawn by Carissa Broadbent, the 3rd book in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy, I think is what it's called. It is a adult fantasy. We've got magic and war and scariness happening, and I am enjoying it.
Now we've got roll number 5, which is the last roll. Ooh, that is a 2.
And then for the last roll, it was a 2, which is a middle grade. Now, I'm not entirely going to be focusing too much on attempting to do this, just because of how many books I do have on the TBR. But for the middle grade, I have chosen to do Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend, third book in the Nevermore series. I'm going to try and pick this up via audiobook because I do have about 2 hours of traveling to do for me to be able to get to university, so I think it should be pretty easy to get through this book, especially if it is via audio. So I am excited to be able to continue this one so that we can finally, whenever Silverborn comes out, I can finally pick it up and read it and just be done with the series so quickly, which is terrifying to think of, but I am excited anyway because Silverborn is going to be like the new trilogy, because I think Jessica Townsend has mentioned, or at least somebody has mentioned, that because this is going to be like a 9-book series, it's sort of separated into 3 different trilogies. Yes, I'm excited for this one. I cannot wait. So yeah. I obviously do have a lot of university books that I have to read like the Iliad and the Odyssey again. I do have to read a few other books for my English literature classes, but I will mention those probably in my reading vlogs just because I don't really want to mention them here, just because this is for the d20 Roll20 TBR. So yes, these are the books that I want to try and read for the month of March. These are very big and chunky. I didn't realize how big that was. Am I going to regret it? Probably, but it's fine. Alrighty guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Do give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know what your thoughts were down below in the comments. Let me know what books you guys are reading for the month of March. Let me know if you have read any of these, and let me know what your thoughts were. If you would like to stay and see more videos from me, then do be sure to hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Links are always down in the description box, so do be sure to check those out. I hope you guys are having a lovely day, and I will see you soon in another video.